This is the Daily Space for today, Monday, May 18th, 2020. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brain. Welcome to Monday morning. Not gonna lie, part of my morning was spent hitting refresh 10 gazillion times as I waited for some really slimy news. Well, news of Mars to come out of embargo. Honestly, while there isn't a lot of news, the news we have really doesn't disappoint. But I'm going to work my way toward that slime and make you wait the same way I had to. Our first story of the day is one of astronomers using gravity as a telescope. A non-pointable telescope, but a telescope. While light has no mass, it has energy. And that good old E equals mc squared means that energy and mass are the same as far as gravity is concerned. As light passes by massive objects, its path gets bent. We can see this, like you and I can actually go out and test this for ourselves during solar eclipses, when the light from distant stars that are located near the sun's edge in the sky appears shifted ever that much closer to the edge of the sun. Gravitational lenses shift light around too, and if a lens or a mass is big enough, it can focus light into a brighter object than we might otherwise have been able to see. Now, the way this works is with gravity, light that would otherwise fly towards some other part of the universe can be bent our way, allowing us to see more light than normal. The resulting bright and often distorted images are called gravitationally lensed images. The distortion comes from the fact that the masses causing the lens are often lumpy galaxy clusters, and just like lumpy lenses would create funhouse images, a lumpy mass will create a distorted image of a distant object. Now, since gravitational lenses were first predicted 100 some odd years ago, folks have been combing the skies looking for light from the most distant objects to appear as distortions near galaxy clusters and other massive objects. The most famous example is this one, a Bell 370, which has a myriad of lens objects warping through deep images of this system. These are those arcs that you see appearing concentrically out from the center. Now, unfortunately, since the first gravitational lens was imaged back in 1979, very few have actually been seen, at least until now. The Dark Energy Survey has been systematically mapping the sky at a resolution and a depth combination that has never been achieved in a survey. By depth, we mean how faint can be seen. In their newest paper, this collaboration has announced the discovery of 335 strong lensing candidates, distant objects that are massively distorted as their light is magnified. Now, while each distorted blob will need follow-up observations to confirm that they are indeed distant images that do or don't relate to one another, this discovery paper tells us there are up to 335 new objects whose light has been traveling toward us since early in the universe's history. And we can now use them to study the universe and star formation. Well, this is how we see the beginning of our universe. Now, that's not all. The reason that the Dark Energy Survey is investing so much time and energy into finding lensed objects is because sometimes the alignments of mass and light allow the same distant object to be lensed into multiple images, just like multiple mirrors can allow us to see the same thing repeated multiple times as it reflects off mirror after mirror toward us. Since the light path for each version of an object that we see in the sky is different, we can use geometry and a few other tricks of physics to figure out the difference in path for the light from each object and directly measure the changing size of our universe. This technique gives us another way to determine if dark energy is real, and if it is, how it has changed or has not changed over the course of time. This work appears in the Astrophysical Journal Letters and was led by Jiaqiang Xiang. This is just a start. The instrument they used, the Dark Energy Spectroscopic Instrument, or DESI, isn't fully up to operational speed yet. And when it is, these 335 new objects will hopefully turn out to be the tip of an iceberg that crushes the problem of dark energy. Now, our first story was good news and light. And our second story takes us into the mud, albeit the mud on Mars. While the red planet is currently a dry desert world, this hasn't always been the case. In new work in the journal Nature Geosciences, a team led by Peter Brose describes how Mars may once have had mud volcanoes that essentially spewed liquid mud that would have settled into distinctive geologic features. This is a "here's how it would have happened" paper that looks at how mud would have frozen as soon as it hit the air and looks at the odd thermodynamics of the lava tunnels of mud that would have formed, not of lava, but of mud. This story gets points for creating in real life the mud monsters of my childhood imagination. These are things that haven't been found yet at the, mud monster scale. But in a more detailed summary of the paper that we got 10 minutes before we went on air, this collaboration shares images of active mud volcanoes right here on Earth and describe what could be now dormant mud volcanoes on Mars. They speculate that tens of thousands of conical hills seen on Mars are the result of mud volcanoes. Now, this is all just got published 2 hours before showtime. So rather than try and cover this in any pretended detail today, we're actually going to work to get someone from this research team to come on as a guest sometime in the near future. Now, this isn't all the news we've got. In other news, we'd like to share that the TRAPPIST-1 system of 7 planets has been found to be behaving completely normal. While it had been thought from preliminary observations that the planets' orbits were all kinds of out of alignment, further study by the folks at the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan using the Subaru telescope found that this solar system, like ours, has all the planets neatly orbiting in a disk. This work appears in the Astrophysical Journal Letters and was led by Teruku Hirano. This is a nice, friendly confirmation that sometimes science acts exactly the way you expect. Well, this one mystery of planetary alignments has been erased. The system and its potentially habitable worlds still offers many questions we will be pursuing for years to come. Finally, we'd like to note that while science is slowing down during these plague times, it's not entirely because we are all focusing on other issues like taking care of children and loved ones. Some folks with extra resources are also doing what they can to support those in health science. One team of scientists just reaching out to help another. Here at the Planetary Science Institute, we're turning out 3D prints, making face shields and ear protectors. Over at University of Wisconsin's Madison's Ice Cube Laboratory, what they're doing instead is turning over their computational ability. And we just love these feel-good stories that are slowly coming out of sciences. Just one researcher doing something good at a time. Now, there are some thoughts of maybe starting to collect these feel-good stories to go over once a week during our community coffee show, which runs every day, well, not every day, most Mondays through Fridays at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, timed beautifully at 4:30 in the afternoon, London time. If you would like to join us for community coffee, please do it anytime. And if you have an awesome story that you think we could use to help brighten someone's day, please let us know over on the CosmoQuest Discord. And that's all the science we've got for today. I will now answer your questions in the chat. And I'm going to leave you with this picture of a mud monster. As I say, today's episode was written by me, Dr. Pamela Gay. The audio and video will be produced by Ali Pelfrey. Our content gets posted to Patreon, our website, and social media by Beth Johnson. We are all supported by a myriad of volunteers. We couldn't do this without all of you. And we are supported by the generous contributions of people like you. Your patronage over at patreon.com/CosmoQuestX allows us to pay our staff a fair wage. And one of the things that we'd really like to do is start offering medical benefits to people working 20 hours a week or more. None of us are permanently full-time. None of us are currently getting benefits. But we now are thinking that starting in July, we may have the potential to do so. But we can only do this with your help. If you would like to see us start to offer medical benefits to our part-time staff, the people bringing you this show, please consider, being part of our community over on patreon.com. We will do everything we can to bring you as much science as we can. And we'd love to know that getting sick and potentially having our spouses lose their jobs will never come between us and, trying to keep ourselves healthy during these plague times. If you don't have anything to give, we completely understand. It's a struggle for everyone. If you can just share us out, get other people doing science, getting other people listening and being part of our community, that would really help. The greatest way we can increase the amount of money that we have is by increasing our audience size. And hey, that makes the whole world more scientific. So please share us, share everything CosmoQuest does with anyone who's not moving by too quickly. And since we're all kind of trapped in our houses right now, hopefully it will be easy to say, hey, let me tell you about this podcast to all the people in your lives. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to answer your questions. At least I'm going to try to. Tropical Tom is asking, will there be coffee next week? It's a holiday. So next week is a holiday in the United States. But as the world turns, there are many other nations out there. It turns out that there are two cool things going on relevant to this show. The first is coffee on Mondays comes from Jillian in Pakistan and Tim, our own Paranor, up in Canada. And I'm hoping they'll keep it going. And the other thing is next Monday is Balticon, a celebration of speculative fiction that normally is a real world science fiction fantasy convention that I love to go to down in Baltimore. This year, it's plague times. So they're doing the entire con for free. You can sign up, become part of their Discord, and get access to all the Zoom streams that they're doing for all their parallel sessions. And we may be bringing you a lot of that content live right here on twitch.tv/CosmoQuestX. This includes bringing you the daily space as part of one of their Balticon streams next week. Not only will we be bringing you the news, but we'll be taking you behind the scenes to show you how this all gets done. All right, what other questions do we have out there? Henny, you're right. The universe is far bigger than what we can see. We see at most 4% of the universe based on current math. Jillian says, so if we think of our universe as finite and an expanding bubble sphere, now Are we at the point in the sphere? Okay, so I'm going to not try and read through the rest of, there's a grammar issue there, but what I can tell you instead is our universe seems to be a four-dimensional hyper toroid. This means that the three-dimensional space of the universe is wrapped on the surface of a donut, so that if you take off in any direction, you will get back to where you are. I need a donut for demonstration purposes. Let me turn this into a donut. Actually, do I have a hair tie? I have a hair tie. So here we have a very lame donut. You can imagine that if you go through the center anywhere, this is your path. You always end up, you can go all the way around the outside. You can go all the way around the inside. No matter what direction you take off on the surface of that donut, you end up back where you started. Now, it turns out that you can do this in 4 dimensions, so that our 3-dimensional space is wrapped onto a 4-dimensional donut. Please do not ask me to try and explain that other than to use those words, because it turns out our human brains are really bad at thinking in more dimensions than 3D plus time, and space has decided it's going to be a whole lot more dimensions than that. All right, let's see what else is in here. Follows are free. Yes, DPI has it right. Please get more people to help follow us, and follow us if you're not already. Let's see what else. Hanny asks, so mud volcanoes are thick mud deposits that are on top of hot spots. Where is the lava? So, there doesn't have to be lava with a volcano, and it turns out there also doesn't have to be a geothermal hotspot. We get ice volcanoes driven by pressure changes. There were some at Lake Michigan earlier this winter. So all these other different pressures, all you need is an area of too much pressure. So this can actually be driven by mud flows rather, that build up pressure, and then it gloops out the center. Now, there probably were hot spots involved, but I haven't read the paper in detail yet. So we're going to bring on a guest who can answer all those questions. All right, so let's see what else. So Hanny asks, how far out of its way can light be bent? Well, if a black hole is involved, it can actually get twisted all the way back into itself. So the gravitational lenses that we look at in trying to study the distant universe, these things are only bent a few arc seconds to a few arc minutes. I don't think there's been any found that are bent an entire degree. So it's small bends, but it's enough to do the science. Oh, Tropical Tom, your messages are so sweet. Yeah, I love seeing everyone congratulating the people who did community coffee. Tim, Jillian, you guys are rocking it out. Beth, thank you for getting up so early. Beth, Planetary Pan. I happily watched in my pajamas while drinking coffee. All right. Did I make it to the beginning? I think I made it to the beginning. I think I made it at least to random chatter. Thank you for the bits, Tropical Tom. I didn't have my audio working at that point. I may have made it actually into the prior show's notes. It would be hard to figure out where to bite a 4-dimensional donut. That is true. That is true. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and prep to record our podcast. As a reminder, the podcast is actually a high quality version of this, where if I realize from your questions, oh, expletive, I need to clean up my description of something, I'll go ahead and do that. And if you can follow our podcast and leave a review wherever you get podcasts, it would really help our show. Increasing visibility is all a matter of clicks. And if you want more science to go out to more humans to, well, make us all maybe look up from the gutter at the stars a little bit more, we'd sure like your help. Okay, I'm going to go record, then I'm going to eat lunch. And I'll be kicking around the internet all day. Thank you all for being here. Let me see if I know what tomorrow's what tomorrow's community coffee will be. Tomorrow we will have a guest. Let's see what all I can tell you so far. So tomorrow's guest, we're going to talk about the destruction of Comet Borisov. That should be particularly interesting. It's always good when a comet meets with some nice death and destruction. So tomorrow's morning coffee is going to be Annie. It will be, well, whatever it is. So stay tuned. Yeah. I will see you all on the internets. Now, first though, tell me who I should raid. Oh yeah, you're totally seeing my Trello board. There, see more Trello board. This is where we live. Alrighty. Let's go back to those mud volcanoes though. They're prettier. And also exactly the thing that my nightmares of childhood envisioned. Who would you all like to raid today? Do you have any preferences? Larry, I'm not going to think about what transdimensional food would do to anyone's bowels. That's just a little bit much. EJ? Do we want to raid EJ? Is there anyone else out there that you'd like? Yeah, I'm only seeing EJ too. All right, we're going to raid EJ. Mara Luke CK Harp. All right, that's someone we've never raided, so let's give them a raid. And please give them a warm rocket-filled welcome as you lift off into your next Twitch adventure. For now, though, wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, or afternoon. Wear a mask if you go outside. Stay in if you can. And we're all going to get through this together. And wash your hands.